I think ultimately you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to have a strong belief in what you're making, regardless of the outcome. If you don't believe in it, then it's never gonna happen.
As long as there's light, I will shine.
This is Captain Fortunata speaking to you from the back of
Shine to the highest height in the darkest night. And we will blast off. 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 And we will.
Like I said, the Captain Sunbeam, the original song, I don't know if you've heard that. And that was about me going through cancer and blasting off away from that and sort of trying to be brave through that experience. But like this new album is like me, picking up the pieces. Like I'm alive, but like, there's all the hardship that kind of like you at first you just want to live, and then it's like, okay, I'm living, but like, this is what I'm sort of left with.
Hello. How you doing?
You're on Luther Divine.
Yeah, but
Let me see if there's anything quick on there.
Sure.
Can we just look at the and then I wanted to fire up the organ and do that for Afterlove.
Oh yeah.
My hope for it is that it's real, and you can feel it, because it wasn't just made on a whim, and it wasn't just made for any to sound in any specific way. Like it was made because it was channeled and like it had to be made.
Malachy getting a little saxophone, a toy saxophone, and we had little xylophones, and Conor was banging stuff from the beginning, I guess.
Yeah, when they were little, they just enjoyed it. Well, they enjoyed making noise first and foremost, but then also making music was played off that.
I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum song.
That's right.
I can just see it happening. Yeah.
We've been making up stories and making up fantasy worlds since we were kids, just with each other. But what we realized with Captain Sunbeam is that, this is the story that we were put here to write. Like this is what we were meant to tell. Like no matter what, like we are going to tell this story.
Yeah. It was kind of chaos here. Well, also we did get them little.
They always had musical gifts.
Yeah, musical gifts and little drum sets and what have you.
All kinds of little musical things.
Yeah.
Egg shakers that are still part of their music making today. And then they started playing in the basement, and the floorboards would feel like they were coming up.
There's some reason that I can't see.
brought a piano one year. So
Yeah.
and then Santa brought drums one year. So these things have been around for a long time.
That's right. Santa Claus was key.
I don't think we really had a clue other than the fact that we
They really enjoyed
hadn't
it.
played
Yeah.
music ourselves, and
Yep.
we didn't have that opportunity. And I know for myself, I really wanted them to have the opportunity to be involved
And they seem to enjoy
with
it.
music in some way.
Yeah.
And they seem to really enjoy it. And then they seem to enjoy doing it together.
But I think the light, it was you saw the bar, and how the pretty fair maids in the morning, bright and early, mushroom under dawn. Work for daddy-o, work for daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
I think the thing I always told them was they could play music, but they had to go to college first. So I was really insistent that they get their college degrees, and then they kind of came back after that. And I guess I wasn't surprised. And I think and the fact that, you know, they were together again and they were back in Boston made me very happy. You kind of see what brings great joy to Malachy and to Conor. And for Conor, I think his joy comes from his writing in the moment and his creative process.
From my perspective, the band was started first, right?
Yes.
What inspired you to write this book? Like, how did you take the band to the story, if that makes sense?
I remember, you know, we were recording an electronic song from one of our old projects.
To the way beyond, now you see that I was afraid of love, but you were not. And now you see that all you
And that transmission kind of came to Malachy, like, oh, this is Captain Sunbeam speaking to you from the back of a shooting star. And he was just kind of ad-libbing that. But then, you know, he wrote the song Captain Sunbeam, and that kind of really set things off because it was so interesting, and I felt like I could grasp the character like almost immediately.
Oh, Captain Sunbeam, now would be the time to take me to your ship. I've been waiting for your love to wash over me. Take me to your mountain. Oh, 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 oh.
Like, and I just had this like vision of like this character, and like this one character can have this whole story surrounding it. Him being like this kind of enigmatic character that like is like shrouded in mystery, and like has a very like intense pull. Like he kind of pulls you to him.
Sunbeam, my love, you're so evil, but I love you anyways. So please don't hesitate.
So I just started to write, and I would write at work, and I would write like whenever I could.
I think stories are a big part, whether they were like books or audio stories, musical stories, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You now listens to musicals, has
Yeah.
a lot of thematic music that you listen to.
Yeah.
You can't say that they didn't hear that.
like a sun before the gates of heaven are crawling on back to
But I can't say that it was like that was like, oh, I was doing that for any particular purpose. I think I was just doing it because it was joyful and they loved stories, and we just spent a lot of time
At the
reading
library.
stories
Yeah.
and
Picking out books.
and reading fantasy stories.
Lift it out of the shop.
Yep.
So one more time. Go ahead, open it up. And then lift it up to your...
I feel like their stories have changed to reflect who they are now.
Well, they have some of the same themes. I mean,
Yeah.
they kind of love this like good and evil and pirates and the woods and, I don't know, lumberjacks.
Oh my god.
Over the woods, along the woods,
The squeaking on the seat is killing me.
It's sounding luminous. And there.
One could almost say divine.
So this is the last day of recording.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, you've been through all the iterations of working with Malachy and Conor to like just working with Malachy now. Like, how does it feel from over 6 years ago to now?
Oh man, yeah, there's been a lot of changes in the last 6 years.
When I got sick with spinal cancer,
what I was going through health-wise, and pull them and bring them back.
Because we, went from going to his house in Somerville and then just like jamming around on acoustic instruments and like not having a space to play in.
Across the back of your miracle, you were fated to run.
To bring 2 members back into the band and, like getting some concerts under our belt. And then starting up that Kickstarter with the new members and like recording a whole damn album with them.
It's like the instrument katana.
That's true.
Yeah. I guess to be fair, the only time I've gotten a concussion on stage was from a cowbell.
Really?
I didn't know that she was living in Boston.
Legitimately cry watching Moana when she comes back and it's like so victorious and I was also super hungover. I thought about like if I could try to build a guitar, if I go into the past and I'm like, oh yeah, I play guitar. They're like, what's a guitar? Is it my responsibility to then like build a guitar? How do I build strings? I am Joe, aka Zag, lead guitarist. So I have a really, I guess, deep history with the band. I started out playing music with Connor and our good friend who was playing bass at the time, Nate. We played music together in high school. Then big brother Malachy came along and was like, hey, I can actually sing for you guys. And we were like, that'd be great.
That's it.
Yes. Stevie, drums. No, I'm Stevie. I play the drums for Captain Sunbeam. Music is always fun. All of it makes the stress of putting an album and like touring, like the music is fun enough that makes like everything else worthwhile. Like all of the like not sleeping, like everything. It's good.
What is the difference for you now compared to when you first started?
Well, yeah, the big difference is, like, I feel like there's just so much history between me and Mal now, and the other people in his life, including you, right? There's just like so much history that we've built upon. So when I show up to the studio to practice, or when Mal comes in with a new idea or anything like that, I just feel like, like I know where this is going. I love where this is going, or like I can sort of anticipate directions, and I think I have a better grasp on like what our sound is now and what we're trying to go for. And I think that's just like a great artistic relationship. I really think it's cool to build like really amazing things together with other people too.
I think it might be the organ.
Could be that too. Something's misaligned there.
To me, it kind of comes, it coalesces together in a nice way.
It definitely does.
But it also could be the guitar.
How have you seen your role within Captain Sunbeam?
Yeah. I mean, hey, I see myself as like doing whatever we need most. So whether it's like recording a video and editing.
Got this, man.
Whether it's doing some backup vocals. Obviously, I play bass. That's a bare minimum job that I got to do. Again, I'm here to build something amazing, and like I'm willing to do most things to unblock us from being able to make great music and to perform and to do all the above. This album in particular, I mean, it's been different simply because, you know, we based it off Kickstarter, and so we need to deliver, and I'm happy, and there's a lot of motivation behind that, to be on a timeline, to deliver by a certain period, and to, you know, have the backing and not just be shelling out and taking a massive risk on our own, right?
We want to bring this world to you. We want to give it to you and let you explore it, and we want you to be a part of this universe. Captain Sunbeam is a brotherhood and it is a family, and we would be so thrilled if you were a part of this family.
Like, we've solved the only problem that we've had blocking us from doing it. So the first album, much in difference, like every single time we went into the studio, it was pulling teeth. It was like, all right, let's think hard about like whether or not we need this, and let's scrap this song altogether. Let's get rid of more content that we probably could have used on it. But you know, we ended up having to focus down on a few really good recordings. This time around, I feel like we've been able to do everything we've wanted to do, with nothing holding us back, which has been great.
But I gotta not fuck it up.
Yeah.
That's the most
God, there's so many cool, even for the blast off part, there's little, you can do like a little bass solo.
You gotta bring in positivity, you've gotta bring in like motivation, and you've gotta get people excited. And to put in the hours necessary to, you know, have a really good quality piece of music that you put out together over here. And to have fun in the process. Like, it's so important to have fun in the process.
In the fortress, in the seconds.
Peekaboo with the lens.
In the fortress, we will roll. In the seconds, we will roll.
I can really, like, I sympathize with the story he's trying to tell. You know, like, I myself have a brother. You know, I myself have like been there with Malachy when he's gone through some of these things, and been through the life changes. And so, yeah, I mean, I just sympathize with him a lot. And so I feel like I'm playing a big part in getting what I think is an important story out there. And also, you know, at the end of the day, he makes damn good music. Like, his story aside, his sympathy aside, like that's all important. But like, he makes great music, you know, and I wanna work with somebody who makes great things.
Open my eyes again. Your wings cut like frost on the morning. Let in the sun, and you'll see that the fields of Orion are worth exploring.
But just to top it all off, like he's somebody like I want to help out too, not just not like he's not a megalomaniac.
And shuffle the compass a little more down your abdomen to my side. Yeah, perfect. Leave it.
In the ancient tunnels of centurions
You know, he's not like the horror stories you hear about other people who come into the space who own the music, create the music, and work with other people. He owns it, creates it, but he does not like declare ownership over the people around him. I feel like, which is good. So he's been great to work with creatively.
And just like after looking at me, then turn towards the cave and then hold the light further in, as though you're like focusing now and going deeper. Yeah, go deeper. You know, like whoa, bugs. Yeah, it's pretty cool with the light deeper in there. And can you bring your face up more?
Well, let me just start. My name's Nicole. I'm Malachy's girlfriend of almost 9 years now. So I've been here really from the start of Captain Sunbeam. He really looks to my opinion when it comes to visual things, which I think that's something I've slowly built confidence with, especially with having the ability to do these things that I think normally not everyone has a partner who is doing music or some other creative thing that you can actively be a part of and like contribute and put your own vision into, and he's always been receptive to that. It's still very much his vision, but he's always into hearing other people's feedback, and especially mine, even if I may get annoyed sometimes with him asking about, well, how does this look? How does this cover art look? What color looks best with this? Like little details, but at the end of the day, it shows that he really cares about my opinion and that I have insight that he may not have. And I know he does that with other people that he works collaboratively with in this project, with Connor, with other people who he values their opinion.
Here we go.
Yep.
All right. And let's do a little more of a look like you're finishing up type thing as I'm counting down.
No.
All right, ready? So, 1, 2, 3. All right, and go. And sorry, one more time.
All right. I'm gonna get my costume. I'll sit right here.
Creed on tour this summer.
This has all the makings of a horror movie.
Why would you say that?
Do you think he is?
Does
he look like you?
I don't know. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
They look good sometimes. I just took them out. I like it better without them.
It was really not a good way with Rick.
Must be about 50 tapes. You know, you just can't.
It really begins with the dying of the life sun. So the sun in this galaxy is called the life sun, and the story begins with the sun is beginning to die, and the resources on each planet are being depleted because of this, and specifically the resource of nectar, which is a valuable substance that's used to power all the spaceships, and it has other uses too. The amount of it is declining significantly because of the life sun's demise. And so everyone kind of in this universe is trying to figure out what's happening. Why is the sun dying? Why is the amounts of nectar being depleted because of this? So in response to this, a man who's known by different names to different people, but we'll just call him Captain Sunbeam for now. He is a young captain in the Royal Watch, which is the militant, I would call it like the military / police force / government of this galaxy. And he's a young Royal Watch captain. He decides, based on information told to him from a wise priestess, that there's an artifact beyond the reach of this galaxy, that if it is found and returned to the galaxy, it can solve the demise of the life sun and bring the sun back to its full strength. So Captain Sunbeam, in his ship, the Love Star, which probably many people have heard that name, and it's in lots of different songs and in a few drawings, but it's kind of the captain's iconic spaceship, and he takes it beyond the outer reaches of this galaxy into deep space to try to find this artifact, which some call it the Amulon and others call it the Compass of Ra. So that's how the story begins.
Searching for the love star, searching for my new home.
When I finally capture the love star, I won't let it go.
And then, in terms of the book, the real story starts many years after that. And it starts with our protagonist, whose name is Julian Afterjoy.
Hi-ho, Silver.
And Julian comes up in a lot of songs.
In the flash of your smile, the remnants of light, the way that you sang me to sleep every night. Fly on back home, sweet Julie,
So I'll just give a brief description of who he is. He's a lumberjack who lives on the planet of Elyria, which is the fourth planet, the Seven Jewels. You know, at some point while he's on Elyria, he begins to hear a voice speaking to him, and he doesn't know where it's coming from at first, but this voice draws him away from Elyria to go on this adventure, and it draws him to go find the captain.
Captain Sunbeam.
Find Captain Sunbeam, yeah.
So, who are the other characters in the book?
Yeah, so the other characters in the book are, we have Julian, he's the main character. And the second main character is Julian's, I would say, like, niece. She's not technically blood related to him, but she's the daughter of Julian's logging partner.
Do we have any, like,
It's a pump.
or something like that?
He's young, and she's very, she's a computer kind of, very skilled hacker.
Do you stream on Twitch?
I do not. I feel like I should, but I don't think I do anything interesting enough on my games.
And there's also, elements of, like, from my engineering background, like, it's important that really comes through in Tuka's character, because that's what she's interested in. She's very ambitious, and she's very, like, career oriented, which is kind of the opposite of how the lumberjacks usually are, which is like they're basically like, the show like Deadliest Catch or something like that. And Tuka's not like that. In the books, I kind of see a way to have, like, this scientific aspect and this spiritual aspect. In terms of the Life Sun's demise, there are those that think it's a scientific problem and that can be solved through science. There are others that think it's, they more believe in a mythological creation of the galaxy, and they think that there's more of a quote-unquote spiritual solution to that problem. The relationship between Captain Sunbeam and Julian is kind of like that of a master and a student, and so I think part of what Julian's seeking is spiritual, connection. I don't want to speak for Malachy, but it's like almost some of the songs can be like songs of worship.
Send me a song from the out. Send me a song. I was born to be your only one, the chosen one who walks by your side. Goodbye.
Sometimes I see in the music there's a more simplistic story, like almost an energetically or like musically, that's like the Julian and the captain, and one of them singing to the other, or he's singing to the other one. If people just approach it like, just with an open mind and be open to different parts of the story coming in that maybe they haven't experienced before. You know, different, you know, emotionality of whatever each song is bringing to the table. And I feel there's very much a lot of Elyria in the album, and I think that's part of what visually the album's gonna look like.
Beneath my feet composes an ode to the fire in your heart.
It will tell you what it needs to tell you. It will bring you where it needs to bring you. You don't need to overthink what exactly in the story does this mean, or like what does it not mean, or like. I think it's just, you know, Malachy will tell you, he'll paint you a picture of what he's singing about, and you just hold that lightly, and I think the songs will kind of speak for themselves.
I think you can find it all in these songs. You can find the triumphs, and you can find the ugly side. And, you know, it just so happens on the cover of the album that the love star is soaring into the skies of Elyria. And that is like really an up, you know, but there's also a lot of downs when, as you can see, when it swoops down. I wish there was a picture of it where it swoops down. You can see the smoke coming from the star burners, the 3 star burners, the 3 stars of Orion.
I think after all that Malachy's been through with his cancer and his own personal story and his willingness to kind of make this story of the Sunbeam project kind of come to life.
So, with the constellation of Orion and in the Sunbeam Universe where he's the creator, there's this idea of rebirth, and there's this idea of destruction and danger and ending, but also of beginning.
My sweet Orion, I knew that you would remember me.
So, within each song, there are multiple paths and multiple prophecies that I'm trying to create for myself and for the characters in the story.
Let's grab my morning routine. Get up, make juice, several different types of juices, drink the juice, drink the smoothie, get to the studio. Try not to spill green juice on this nice white shirt that I put on because I knew that you were going to be filming the Shire. Ever been there?
I think at their best, these songs make my journey into sort of a quest, and I'm trying to write the answers for myself in the songs. I'm trying to remind myself of things too, because, you know, when you have like a serious health issue or any type of serious issue, you know, when you're in the moment, you can't remember the path that you, like, it takes you out of yourself. And so in these songs, I wanted to nail down what the path and what the message was, despite everything.
Just kind of what it takes to keep the ship moving forward. It's just, you know, you never know what, when you wake up, you never know what, you know, what's gonna start to become a problem, develop physically as the day goes on.
It's interesting as someone who's lived with him over the past 7, 8 years now. We've lived in different places, but he's always been playing music. He's always been the loud one in our relationship, and literally playing loud music. And so I'd always hear the start of these songs, the beginnings. We go to another room, play something in our bedroom, and in our current place now in Somerville, he has a little office. So the second album of Captain Sunbeam that's being out, Songs of Orion, I really started like 5 years ago at this point, 6 years ago.
What's on my mind going to the studio today? Well, it's the last day before mixing. And there's just so many tiny little things to do. So I have a master list of everything that needs to get added. And the master list is always, you know, growing and evolving. Things are getting added to it, things are getting taken off.
His music before that story may have been there, but the story certainly evolved after he got sick.
The Captain Sunbeam
The Captain Sunbeam kind of emerged more in full strength from that cancer diagnosis.
And during the pandemic, when we were all just inside, like, he was creating all this music and channeling everything that he's gone through. And like, after he became cancer free and had the surgery and the radiation, and then we got into the pandemic, he started losing mobility and had issues walking. And so I think he really used music to deal with that and to kind of process all that was happening to him. So Songs of Orion this album is really emblematic of that time. And also there's some newer songs too, but I think they all stem from that and are connected through that thread, along with the Captain Sunbeam story and universe that Connor is writing.
And as long as there is light, I will shine.
So when I first got diagnosed, you know, the first thing was I wanted to live, and I have. But also the way that I went through it was really important to me. And I remember just praying that I had the sort of like the mental strength or spiritual strength or bravery to make a good impression on everyone around me, and to show them that I could go through something and not let my fear take over, and show that I could rise to the challenge, and that, you know, that I was strong enough.
I think, I don't want to speak for Malachy, but I'll speak for him a little bit. I think that, you know, with what he goes through on a daily basis, writing music is a way for him to kind of, you know, deal with some of the things that he goes through.
Shine to the highest height in the darkest night.
All right, let me get it one more time.
I mean, he's done everything in his power to keep his physical strength, his physicality or his physical strength so strong, so that he can be in the world to the best of his ability, but so that also that he can make music.
Please don't let this be all astray, in the love stars tonight. And as long as there's light, I will shine.
The story before was good, and I think now as afterwards, I think it's just they can speak more to the details, but I know his will to do it is that much stronger. I think like he's going to see this to wherever he wants it to get to the finish line. I think it's part of his healing journey.
And I think that's part of the reason why I always try to believe in myself and have a really high self-worth, because what's the other option? You know, the other option is just bullshit. So I don't know. I really forged Captain Sunbeam to remind myself to be brave and to just do whatever it takes to make it through. But not to say that it's always positive, because you listen to this album, I mean, like, you'll see it all. At some point it becomes more of a something that you just have to do and not something that you want to do. Like, there's so many steps along the way that I know just need to get executed, and you know, some of the steps are fun, but some of the steps you don't take as much joy in, and you just, you know, all right, I have to pack this up and I have to, you know, get here and make all these things happen, just so those few minutes of time when you're at the studio can count. We want to save the sun, we want to heal ourselves, we want to make it all happen, and I think it still is that along the way, and I'm sure other people might relate to this, but it just becomes, can this project actually be completed?
Dear Mr. Fantasy Players, do something to make us all happy.
Malachy, look at the King of Paris.
And they're both, I think, resilient.
Yeah.
And they both want things done their way. And I think some of their back and forth, really, some of that dissonance creates, like, there's something that comes out of that.
Something good, yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll talk about what it's like to work with brothers. I mean, especially when Connor was playing more actively with the band. I mean, I remember them like shooting glares at each other halfway through songs, maybe, and like, oh, the next break we're taking is about to be a heated one.
And if you wanna know where you can find me, I'll be there by your side.
But I also just have seen them bounce ideas off each other, show so much love for each other in the process, and like work together in just as many ways as they work against each other, which, you know, having a brother, I can speak to that truth.
And Julian and Captain Sunbeam have a relationship as well. Would you say like that mirrors anything in your personal life, or
not really? I mean, the classic question is like, oh, is it Malachy, Captain Sunbeam, and I'm Julian, or sometimes he's Julian and I'm Captain Sunbeam. I think in the music, Malachy plays with that all the time, and that's kind of even existed back then before the story was really formed.
Storm past the window, get torn to shreds. For the last 5 years, I've been forcing you up and out of my head.
There's Julian and the Captain, and like that's like the key relationship to the story. And there's like the teacher and the disciple, the you know, the spiritual figure and the one who wants to learn.
Through the stars, I know I'll miss you.
wouldn't say like that I'm Julian and Malachy's the captain or anything like that. Although sometimes we take on those roles. Maybe those are accurate to some degree. You know, just that dual dynamic, like in the song "So Evil," coming on the record. That's probably the most on the nose version of that, where he's saying, maybe Julian saying, "Sunbeam, you're so evil, but I love you anyway."
Sunbeam, my love, you're so evil, but I love you anyways. So please don't hesitate to make me yours.
And that's very core to the music too, because it's like, who are you singing to, And a lot of the times, Malachy's singing to Julian or to whoever.
Why don't you want to speak to me? We were always brothers of the light. Why don't you want to speak to me? We were always brothers of the light. Julian, don't fade away. More than the moon, more than the sun, I hope you stay.
And a part of some of what we do is like sometimes I'll send Malachy excerpts of the story so that he knows some of what's going on, and I think that's influenced a lot of the music on this album too. Maybe not all of it, but certain songs.
My mind crawls, look in my eyes to the blue.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Take out the ones after
Why can't you
put it back in a Why Can't You See?
Yeah.
Is that a 49?
Yeah, they're offset by like a couple seconds or something, but that's the general spot.
Especially for this project and like the period we've been in recently, it has been very parallel. Like Malachy's working on this great album and I'm working on the book, and they're both serious projects that involve like a lot of time and effort put into them. But yeah, I think that's kind of our working dynamic at this time, to kind of work in parallel but also be crossing over. Like I said, I'll send him some excerpts from the story, and that will kind of feed some of what he's writing in terms of music, and then he'll send I'll hear the songs and I'll have like commentary on those. So I think that's just the dynamic we're at right now.
What has it meant to you though, like to have done this and continue to do this with him?
It means a lot. Me and Malachy have been working on projects like this for a long time. I think it's a little different than it was when we recorded the first EP, because at that time I was heavily involved in the band, but it means a lot.
I thought I'd struck riches. I thought I'd found a way to get away from you hateful witches. But next thing I knew, I was stranded on this bit of an island. Tortuga, oh, that's where we'll go. Never burned brighter, never felt better. Oh my boy, we are never going home. Tortuga, oh, that's where it'll be. We'll find the treasure, we'll live forever. We will always be free. Take me sailing to Tortuga. Sweet Oh-Rai, I'm surrounded by.
So, with the constellation of Orion, and in the Sunbeam Universe where he's the creator, there's this idea of rebirth, and there's this idea of destruction and danger and ending, but also of beginning. And so, within each song, there are multiple paths and multiple prophecies that I'm trying to create for myself and for the characters in the story.
Blast off, blast
So I guess we can start with Sunbeam Fortunata as the first song that I'm gonna talk about. And if anybody listens to anything on the album, that's the song that I would recommend that you listen to, because as I've described before, it's really a full movie in that 6 minutes. You get to see all of the extremes, and you get to see the purest encapsulation of the story that I think I've been able to put into song. So the origin of that song really was hearing this electronic song again, just like the first Captain Sunbeam song. I heard this electronic song and I came up with, this is Captain Sunbeam speaking to you from the back of a shooting star. This one, I heard another one of Conor's electronic songs called Last Time. And he says, please don't let this be, or no, it's, please don't make this our last ride. And with the implication being in the Love Star. That's how I at least heard it. And so that's where the song got birthed from. Please don't let this be our last ride. Which that became the chorus. Before I got to the chorus, I wrote this pre-chorus where it was like, hold my hand and watch me burn for the gift of a king. Face down in the mud to carry this universe, I won't feel a thing.
Hold my hand and watch me burn for the gift of a king. Face down in the mud to carry this universe. No, I won't feel a thing. Hold my...
Face down in the mud. Yeah, face down in the mud to carry this universe, won't feel a thing. Hold my hand, and then and now I'm facing the end. Oh, Captain Sunbeam, I hear it again. Ow.
So, I think all the struggles and difficulties now even that he faces day to day, with mobility, chronic illness, and everything like that, that stemmed from everything he's gone through, the music really serves as this tool for him to kind of explain that, or have another way of showing that, or escape it.
Hold my hand and watch me burn for the gift of a king. Face down in the mud to carry this universe. No, I won't feel a thing.
So those lines were extremely potent to me. Hold my hand and watch me burn, you know. Maybe someone just be there with me while all this is happening, while all this destruction is happening. For the gift of a king, I imagined the compass of Ra. Face down in the mud. To me, that's like fate. Think about that. You're face down in the mud. You're face down. You can't get lower. You can't get more destroyed than that. Face down in the mud to carry this universe, I won't feel a thing. Obviously, it's good to feel things, but sometimes it's not. So sometimes it gets in the way.
So that's kind of how I see the album as a whole, as this culmination of all these things, and listen to all the different iterations. And honestly, the album, listening to the songs, because he asked my opinion, is very emotional for me. It's very moving. It just has so much of him and everything, and I feel it really deeply.
You know, and I think to carry this universe, I really was talking about, in some ways, the band, in some ways, you know, the Captain Sunbeam Universe. At the time, Conor was working on the book, but he was also really struggling with some things, and so it really felt like it was all on me to keep this whole ship going. You know, even though he's still working on it, he's still developing this amazing story.
Sunbeam Fortunata really kind of resonates with me in terms of certain parts of the story that I won't share.
And then we get into the chorus. So, hail to the anointed Sunbeam Fortunata. Please don't let this be our last ride.
Let this be our last ride. And it's hail to the
So the word Fortunata actually refers to Captain Sunbeam's real first name. He's kind of a split personality, and so the Fortunata is the side, is like, we'll say, the normal, or the side before stuff happens. And it's kind of calling you back to your true self. Hail to the anointed Sunbeam, to say you're anointed, that you were meant to do this. This is me reminding myself that I'm meant to make this album, because in the day-to-day, it gets really cloudy and you don't know why you're doing things, and you don't know if it's worth it. Like if it's worth the money, or if it's worth the time or the anguish spent. And so it's reminding me that you are anointed. You have to believe you're anointed, you know? And please don't let this be our last ride. So again, that's multi-layered for me. That's talking about my life. It's talking about my own illness and not wanting it to be the last ride, you know? And also, you know, to the story, you know, like Sunbeam and Julian not wanting to be the last time they're going to be able to ride in the Love Star together. And then I'm going to be able to ride in the Love Star together with Connor. And wondering if he's ever going to come back to the band.
Connor, you look good with that one, man. You look good with the electric.
Or if he's ever going to be able to make it through what he's going through. Or we're able to make it through. And so the next part goes, the weight of the compass won't bury me. Collude with the powers that force me to see. So that's reminding myself, even though the compass is heavy, it's not going to bury me. It's not going to bury me in the ground, or it's not going to bury me with everything. And collude with the powers. So try to work with those sometimes dark forces, to let them push you and inspire you in certain ways. I'm a big believer in that. Okay, and then the second section of that song, as long as there is light, I will shine. So that's just a quote I like ran across on the internet or something, and I was like, it really meant something to me.
And as long as there's light, I will shine.
I had actually originally had it in a different song. As long as there's light, I will shine. Shine to the highest height in the darkest night. And then something else was going to come in a different song. And I was like, no, we got to make this Sunbeam. And the song was already like 4 minutes long at this point, but I'm like, all right, well, what's going to be the finale?
Shine to the highest height in the darkest night,
and we will blast off. And then I was like, okay. Then I knew the rest of the path for the rest of the song.
and we will blast off, and we will blast off, and we will blast off, and we will blast off.
Please don't let this be our last ride. It would make sense that you blast off. So we're going to blast off, and we're going to make this whole built-up section. It's going to rise, and you're going to be able to feel it. We're going to have freaking, you know, engine noises. We're going to have the analog synth we ended up using.
it's really this defining moment of the album, and this defining moment for Sunbeam and Julian, and hopefully for myself, and everything's blasting off. And then there's a little end. Oh, Captain Sunbeam, I wanted to be. So it's whenever I go, oh, Captain Sunbeam, I'm doing an ode back to the first song, right? And then it ends on, the whole world is waiting for you and I to capture the afterlove, which is then the next song, which is maybe I'll go into next.
That last little da 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 is really pretty awesome.
So I guess So Evil, that was written like 6 or 7 years ago. So that was written right around the time the first album was released. And that's really just like a split screen. I think it was influenced by a couple of my friendships and relationships at the time. I don't know, maybe me being sick and things, maybe I'm not able to do as much as I used to, but you know, this idea of like, you're so evil, but I love you anyways, this kind of playful banter. And it really does mirror Julian and the Captain's relationship at certain points, because the Captain is this enigmatic, you know, I wouldn't say he's purely evil, but he's like, he's not all good, not all bad, and like, you know, Julian is a little more pure of heart, so they're kind of, they're at odds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Joe, describe So Evil in one word.
Thunderous.
Matt, describe So Evil in one word.
Ow.
My favorite part of that song is the end, where it goes,
Sunbeam, I can't stand you anymore. Won't you believe me? I promise I won't give you up unless you die.
I won't give you up or let you down. So it's like, I can't stand you, but I'm still going to do anything for you. I'm still like your loyal servant. And then Sunbeam, my love, I'll be waiting for you in the morning. So I'm ultimately devoted. And then this super high part I sing, which is, on a good day I can hit it. Far beyond, this isn't how high it's on the album, but far beyond the sunset, I can hear that whistle blow. And that was like coming to me from like a different dimension, basically. You hear that whistle and you wake up in the morning and something's calling you from a different world. You know, Captain, if you can hear me, I just wanted you to know.
Good night, my darling. I long to see your face.
Oh, okay. Luther Divine. Well, you know, Luther is, you know, we're talking about that dynamic between like spirituality and science. Luther is a scientist.
Kickstarting and vroom, vroom. All right, here we go, some turbulence.
He was part of, you know, the movement of investigating the life sun and its demise through a scientific lens. But I think Malachy, you know, sings in Luther Divine.
You give me the courage and you bring the horizon.
you give me the courage. I'm gonna poorly quote it.
Ah, fuck. And you bring the horizon.
You give me the courage, you bring the horizon.
Give me the courage, and you bring the horizon.
And I think part of that is like Luther is kind of the way I interpret it is like Luther kind of represents a certain stability.
Well, you know, I came in the studio knowing exactly what I wanted to do on bass, bringing energy, to make sure everybody felt the same way coming in. I really thought that, like, when we'd be in the practice room talking about recording these songs, you know, you gotta bring in positivity, you've gotta bring in like motivation, and you've gotta get people excited.
Damn straight we're getting Luther today. Of course we're getting Luther today.
I can't speak for Malachy entirely for why he wrote that song or what it's about, but what I get from it is like Luther could be a figure that's stable. You give me the courage. It's like someone who shows up every day and brings stability to every day can give you the strength and support to kind of do what you need to do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I was feeling it. I was feeling magic on that one.
But when I wrote it originally, I kind of was thinking of it more as a love song. Good night, my darling, I long to see your face. So, I'm not sure if Luther has a love interest, but maybe it's this. But I've been appointed to save your world from this fate. And there's definitely also some connection in there to my partner, Nicole, and sort of everything that she has given me over these past, years that I've been sick and even before that. So, Connor spoke about how Luther is this stable presence. I think Nicole really is a very stable presence, and she has allowed me to do what I need to do to sort of survive. And it hasn't all been easy, but I think that when I wrote this song, she did give me the courage in many ways.
To start, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name's Nicole. I'm Malachy's girlfriend of almost 9 years now, so I've really been here from the beginning of Captain Sunbeam and all the iterations before that, even before there was this concept of Captain Sunbeam. So it's been definitely a journey that we've been on doing all this, and to see the progress that Malachy's made. Nope. And it's interesting doing this interview because I didn't think it was going to be so hard to talk about just the music or even like the story, but it does bring up a lot of feelings. And I think that's probably why I have such emotional reaction to the songs. Like, some of my favorites off the album are Oh-Rai and Oh-Rai or Sweet Oh-Rai. We basically for Sweet Oh-Rai sang together on this briefly on the album. So that was sweet to have that there with Luther Divine. It's always been my favorite. I like to think it's about me. What song do you think speaks to you the most out of this new album?
What song? Well, what speaks to me, or what's my, I mean, the song Oh-Rai is my favorite. Ever since I first heard Malachy play it live, I just knew, like, the song's amazing.
Alright, send me a song from the out. I was born to be your only one, the chosen one who walks by your side.
For Oh-Rai, the song, I think that is a very different sounding song. It's kind of lighter, and I see that as a worship song. I see that as, you know, this so very mystical, you know, you're at night drinking the nectar, which is the energetic source in the Sunbeam Universe, and you're sort of lifting your head up and you're praying to Orion, the creator. So this idea of send me a song, I need, as a songwriter, I just want a song, I want a good song. I was born to be your only one, your disciple. And I always pictured this song as like cosmic campfire energy to it. So you're in the cosmos, but you're maybe on a wooded planet, maybe you're on the planet of Elyria, and you're sort of gazing up at the stars, and this is a gentle campfire lullaby that you're sort of singing as a praise song to Orion. This is also directed towards Conor as well. If when Conor watches this, he might not know, but you know, born to be your only one, the chosen one who walks by your side. Almost trying to, I think, convince Conor that I was good enough to be in this with him in some ways, and wanting to do more for him, to help him. When the second chorus, when it comes, I was born to be your mercenary and open every door.
Yeah! Woo!
Yeah. I just had such an emotional reaction the other day listening to Oh-Rai, and it just, I don't know, it's hard to not get emotional when listening to this music, knowing Malachy and the passion into these songs. So yeah, it's just surprising to me that I can still feel that deeply.
What I want to do is I want to break your parts up into different sounds and different lanes.
Yes. Kind of after high school, I had to move away for college and work, and all of that stuff brought me back to Boston. And a few months into moving back to Boston, Malachy said that they were looking for another lead guitarist. And this whole time I've been following the band and loved the music, already knew all the songs and all the words to all the songs. So yeah, it was a really, really cool way to kind of jump back into things and get that kind of like creative back and forth.
So what do you think of the album and being part of that process? What did that mean to you, or how was it really?
Recording the album was a ton of fun. Very cool to be in the studio and try to make the most of the equipment that we had there. Writing the album, I think, was really special because some of the songs some of the parts that I played were already written, and I'd either play them the same or change them a little bit. And other songs we completely wrote on our own, so it was kind of cool to see the contrast in what other people envisioned for the songs versus what I had played. I think the Songs of Orion represent growth and trust and perseverance. I think it's kind of about moving forward with faith in other people and knowing that they'll have your back.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I would say also Fields of Orion. It's not my first favorite, but it's become one of my favorites. I think it's really just a beautiful song.
So I guess I can talk about Fields of Orion, which is kind of a unique song on the album. It actually never has any parts that repeat throughout the whole song. So it's all just kind of continually evolving. It's kind of has this clean guitar and it's kind of proggy.
Sort of like
Yep.
it's isolated, and I'm
Yep.
like, did he mean to do something with that?
See, that's how you know I wrote it all at one time. Because it was
Yeah,
I wrote it and the
right.
song flowed.
Yeah.
When I wrote it. Like I feel like even though the parts don't repeat, each part is meant to be after it.
Yeah. No,
like for a couple years there I was struggling with like I had a bunch of good parts but couldn't link them together.
Yep.
Because it was always like for the first album it was always my brother who would like link them together.
Yep.
But then yeah.
No, I know. And like, what is the linking together? It's not like some people do it with the greater goal of like, I have to end this phrase coming back to the prior phase, right? And that loop doesn't necessarily have to exist, right?
Absolutely.
What's important is that it flows and it goes forward and that it ends.
Is there a Fields of Orion?
Well,
Our place?
in the story, there's a thing called the Viridian Fields, which are the fields of... They're kind of like the Northern Lights, but it's a field of green, like glowing green stardust that is formed around the atmosphere of the planet Elyria, and it's protective of the planet. And Orion is the creator of the galaxy, so so he created those fields, I think, technically. So the Fields of Orion could mean that, but I'm not sure that they do.
It's not as connected to the story in a character sense, but it's more in a spiritual sense, like Connor has been saying, I think.
Not that I would recommend you change lyrics in other spots for that song ever, but like if we could toss a couple more again. I don't know. Or maybe like if we do tack harmonies in there, like we focus on the word again in the existing spots or something like that, which I thought was just interesting.
Because nothing repeats except the word again.
Yeah, which is very funny, yeah.
That's good.
I literally heard the word again and it's separated
Can't
out.
you see
again.
Again.
And then you do it again in the following phrase, but then you also do it in the following verse.
Armageddon. That's kind of again.
Well, not that.
And then open my eyes
again.
Again.
That's the one. Yeah.
Why can't you see again? And then these agains keep repeating again and again and again. And then there's this part at the end of it. Come and catch the carry-on.
Come and catch the carry-on. Goodbye.
I'm not really sure what all the imagery means fully, but I just know that it's creating this darkness at the beginning, and then it's building up, and the screws are tightening, and it feels bleak. Actually, that's one of the words in it. My mind crawls, wandering bleak, and things are bleak. And then it's this illness. There's medical imagery, and then goodbye, and then it releases, and you hear this beautiful Hammond organ.
Vengeful, I believe I'm on the receiving. Bad luck, can you help me get back to believing?
And then we get to this part, this kind of soft part. Vengeful, I believe I am on the receiving. Bad luck, can you help me get back to believing?
Vengeful, I'll cling to the eyes of a mountain. Bad luck, come open my eyes. Vengeful.
Really putting it in somebody else's hands, saying that I can't, maybe there was bad luck that this happened,
but can something lift me out of this? But it's also maybe a letter to myself, asking myself to lift me out of it, because I truly believe that no one's coming to save us. Like, we have to do it ourselves. So I think that's a message of all these songs, if you take one from it.
So there's Skies of Elyria. So
yeah,
you were talking about Elyria kind of briefly, but do you remember the song? Or?
Yep, yeah, Skies of Elyria and Afterlove are both really good. I sent Malachy some excerpts from the book that were from Tuca, the Tuca chapters, and I think he really encapsulated that feel of Elyria, where Tuca lives and where Julian lives, in those songs.
So that brings us to Afterlove, which is really about Tuca and Julian.
Love stuff.
Who am I?
Matt. You're Joe. Oh,
I'm
no.
Joe. I'm definitely Joe.
And about me and Connor, as most of these songs are. But so Tuca's on Elyria. Julian has to leave because he's kind of been summoned by this transmission from the captain. And so Tuca is calling out to Julian and, basically reaching out to him and wondering if he's going to ever come back. So starts off, sent me off to school with a tender goodbye. So Julian kind of acts as Tuca's father figure. So Tuca goes to school, and then all of a sudden Julian goes through the stars, and Tuca kind of knows that he's going to do that, and she kind of feels for him in some way. It then gets to this part though where it goes, "Brother, don't go away, don't leave me alone," and it's this stark reminder of like he's gone. And then to the chorus, "In the flash of your smile, the remnants of light, the way that you sang me to sleep every night." And that comes to my own life too, because when we were little, Connor and I used to stay up all night basically, and Connor would just tell me stories all night about like withies.
Okay. So withies, instead of playing cards like humans do, they get one of these like baby withies out and they just set them on the table. And they go around in a circle like big withies. And they're just like, yeah! And then the next one goes, yeah! And then like next one, yeah! And like whoever kills it wins. But like, that sounds really brutal. It's actually not that brutal.
Just absolute nonsensical, but also very hilarious and fully whatever. Just would make me laugh basically all night long. And so that's where that line exactly comes from. At the end of that song, "Fly on back home, sweet Julie I.O." So at the end, it's beckoning this person, Julian and Connor, and to fly back home, and we can keep cutting down our great trees on Elyria. We can keep making music and doing our thing. Maybe then that brings me to Skies of Elyria, which is one of my favorites, probably my second favorite song on the album, behind Sunbeam Fortunata. And Skies of Elyria, I actually envisioned that as being from the perspective of Julian's father, which, as far as I know, isn't a character in the story. But it could also be interpreted as Julian as well. I'm not really sure, some of these songs I'm not really sure what the lore is, but the idea is there's this father figure who's leaving Elyria, and there's this dialogue again back and forth. Maybe it's between Julian and Tuca, I haven't fully decided. So the chorus goes, "When the ship blasts off tonight, I'll be back, just you wait and see. Through all these skies, I'll keep you in my heart."
I'll be back, just you wait and see. Through all these skies, I'll keep you in my heart.
You're blasting off out there. You don't know if you're going to be back. For me, not knowing if I was going to be alive, and be able to be around my family and friends. But then looking back and saying, I'm going to keep you in my heart, and there's going to be this connection that transcends space and time. And yeah, so again, highly recommend Skies of Elyria and Fortunata. Those are my two Malachy's picks. Count them.
So, what does Captain Sunbeam mean for you?
Yeah, Captain Sunbeam. I mean, it has so much potential is what it means to me. There's so much that I like about the idea of art, like a universe that we're creating together, where there are no constraints, where there are like characters, where there are plot lines, where there are like strange mystical lands and concepts to sort of like build into the songs, and then sort of bring them to life in a different way with music.
Captain Sunbeam is, I think as a whole, the band is a really unique like vortex of creativity between the books and the music and the story of the book feeding the songs, and how the songs turn out kind of feeding back into the book.
And now Captain Sunbeam, I guess to me, I know it's just, it's interesting the way that all the different pieces of it have kind of spun out from not from one song, but kind of from one song. And then Connor creates this universe and different music for each of these planets, and then Malachy comes back and writes some songs, and they write from different perspectives. And like yesterday, Connor and I are working on a zine for the upcoming thing, and that's like totally different, like an illustrated piece. So when you have a good creative idea, it can go in a lot of different directions.
To me, it's the closest I've felt to home since leaving home. These guys are some of the first friends I made when I came to Boston. And I think, yeah, the band's always going to be kind of that anchor for me like that. It's probably the easiest way of phrasing it all.
Yeah, well, when it started, I was more active in the band aspect of it. And then over these past years, you know, Malachy's kind of taken the helm of the band aspect of it, and a lot of the music writing. And on the other side of that, I've been diving deeper and deeper into the Captain Sunbeam book. And so my view of it now is, you know, I have excitement for what Malachy's creating and you know what he's doing with this album coming out. And I'm also excited about the book, which won't be out for a little while, but that I work on all the time. And I'm very, very deep into the story, and sometimes I feel like, you know, it takes a lot to write a book of this length. And so sometimes I feel that, you know, I'm very, very deep into the book. And I would want to share that more with people so that they could, you know, maybe bring some of that to the music.
I've always told Malachy, like, oh, this is his project, this is his thing. But at the end of the day, like, I do feel like part of it, and I think that's what Malachy embodies in his music and his spirit and his person, that he wants everyone to be a part of it. Even though he's someone with a clear vision, he's very much sees the strength and potential of everyone around him. So I think that's really what makes this years and years of work in Songs of Orion really valuable. It's not just Malachy, it's like everyone close to him has a part in this. So yeah, it's truly an honor to be part of it.
So what does Captain Sunbeam mean to me? I think Captain Sunbeam is kind of like I see it as like an oath or a promise that I've made to myself and that I've made to other people around me. And I think that promise is to not let them down. Also would like to say a huge thank you to everybody who helped with any music video or song that we made. Even if it was just a scene or if it was many scenes, you guys are amazing people, and it was so fun to bring this kind of fantasy thing to life. and you guys made it fun, and you became the characters. So I'm so grateful for that. Would also like to just say thank you to Nicole, my partner, who has been with me through this whole experience. And talk about, she's just such a supporter of the creative arts. Like, being with somebody who can be so sick at times and supporting this art that I'm making, just knowing that it's important is, I'll always be so thankful for that. And she's been, her talents have been all across this project, whether it's helping to conceptualize the art or just giving feedback on every creative piece and video and song that I put out. Filming interviews, filming parts of the music video, taking photos at shows, just thinking of ideas. I think that, like, she is as much a part of this as anybody else in the band, or otherwise. And I would say for Connor, yeah, I think this we're on a journey, and this is one stage of the journey. But my hope is that this album inspires you to take yourself to the next stage and remember what's important, and remember how high that we can go together when we are together. So yeah, and also just thank you for always inspiring me and making me laugh and coming up with all these characters and blessing me with your intelligence and your wit and your and you. So yeah, thank you, everybody.
You took what you want so playfully, but you have only eyes and you only have them for me. Planted orange trees by the cabin in the woods. I used to cut them down, but now I love you for good. 'Cause when you run, I will be out there in the orbit, leave me alone. 'Cause when you crawl, I will be right there, standing over. I need you, my bright star. Tell me you have them rings of Saturn cross your arms. 'Cause when you die, I will be on the other side for you. But you had to play it twice, 'cause you have only mine. It's a prism, all in its own device. You turned right up and you had to let it fall. If you would only try, you would live your life in a crystal. 'Cause when you run, I will be out there in the sunlight, leave me alone. 'Cause when you crawl, I will be right there, standing over. I need you, my bright star. Tell me you have them rings of Saturn cross your arms. 'Cause when you die, I will be on the other side for you. Side for you.
Hey guys, Malachy here. Just wanted to let you know, if you enjoyed this documentary and would like to support Captain Sunbeam, really the best way you can do that is to buy one of these official Songs of Orion CDs, which comes with all the original album artwork. On the inside there's the compass, and then revealing this cosmic campfire scene if you've gotten to that point in the documentary. But hopefully this will provide you guys with a really immersive experience as you listen to this album and enjoy it. If you're interested, the link is in the description. We're also selling these amazing prints of the album artwork. This one happens to be the sunset version of the album cover. It's a 1 of 50 print. It's signed by the artist, and it comes in a bundle with the CD. You can also just get the CD on its own, or you can just get the print if that's your vibe. And like I said, there's a Taz Abalone version of the print. There's the Cosmic Campfire print. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you further along down the line on our journey. Oh, guys, shoot it this way. Killer. Killer. All right.
Working if we want to do some like weird droney kind of shots moving back and forth.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great. Oh, one of them stopped.
Sounds kind of like a droid, but a very sick droid.
Yeah.
You sure?
It's like very,
Oh no,
it's very.
I was just telling him how I love Parasite.
No. The dude fucking dropped my phone, my watch, the bag with all of our car keys into the river.
Yeah.
And then when I was like,
damn, I forgot how much I love Guinness.
In theme of that, literally this morning.
Who do you serve? Saruman.
Ulterior motive of this shoot.
I feel like 2 is good.
Yeah.
All right. 3 might kill it.
Oh yeah.
That's it, dude.
Dude, I'm like fucking Waluigi. The red hat.
All right, we're cruising along. All right, here we go.
Seas, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Sunbeam is here to take the motherfucking wheel. Let's go! Joke.
I'm going to sleep. So please don't
The first shot was probably the best shot, to be honest. Yeah, the clownfish would hold it, definitely.
Yeah, Captain Sunbeam. Now would be the time to send me some feet pics.
That's a really big chicken.
Johnny and Joe eating the za.
That'll be cool.
That song plays in my head every time I eat pizza.
I just got to get it really vertical so the house doesn't get in the background.
Yeah, no.
It's the fabled compass of Ra.
So why don't we can hand you one of the candles if you want, maybe, and you can be holding it. I don't know if we want to do the pomegranate juice thing yet.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think we should save
capture
it.
some other shots first.
Yeah.
How you feeling about the Love Star?
Good. Stop.
How are you feeling about the Love Star?
It's going well, man. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
A lot of tin foil. I'm sorry, aluminum foil.
It's my dream come true, man. Aluminum foil galore. It's the future. I'm just saying.
It's the future.
It's the present. This is Captain Sunbeam here. We are putting together the Love Star again in the rain. and it's going very well.
All right, we got everything, I think.
You heard it. Oh, a little more gold leaf for the wheel.
Oh yeah.
Here, this is what it looks like. This is Captain Sunbeam reporting to you live from the Love Star.
Just like do that. We'll have a shot of it. Oh, that's fun. I love that. All right.
Shoulder of Ra.
You got it, dude.
In the ancient tunnels of century also.
But aim for directly dead to the lens, like here. Yeah.
Honestly, like, I'll hold it in place. Just like tap it with your head. There you go.
When you walked into the breach through the fading light of the love star. In the fortress, in the seconds we will